Welcome back to the Perrin family, and my name is Nancy. If you're new here, then we are so glad to have you, and for everyone else, we're glad to see you back again. All right, so today we're going to be talking about my journey thus far on OMAD. So if you don't know what OMAD is simply eating one meal a day. So that means that you don't snack, you don't have 3 meals a day, you don't even have 2 meals a day, but you just have one meal a day. Now that can look a little different for different people. What I do is it doesn't matter how many plates I eat or how many plates I use, as long as I eat within a 1 to 2 hour time frame. Welcome in Wellness with Frugal Mama. I see Dina Days here as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. To anyone listening in the background, you are welcome here. All right, so I know a lot of people say that, they only eat out of one plate for that one meal, but I don't see it that way, because when you go to a restaurant, you can order, an appetizer, you can order an entree, you can order dessert, and so whatever, within just a short time frame each day, we have one meal a day. That's what I define one meal a day as. So I've been sticking to that since January the 22nd, so it's been a month. Now, before that, I would like to say that I started doing intermittent fasting, which I started out doing 16 to 8 and then 18 to 6. I don't really remember exactly how long I was doing 16 to 8 and when I started doing 18 to 6, but it was just a matter of a few days that I switched over to 18 to 6, where I was fasting for 18 hours and eating for 6 hours. And with one meal a day, it's not necessarily to where you have to wait 24 hours to enjoy your next meal. It's just that, like you fast for a longer period of time and you only eat one meal that day. So what does that look like for me? Well, every day is different. It's not to where I have to do 24 hours or 21 hours or 18 hours or whatever. I do try to fast between 18 and 24 hours each and every day. And so my fasting time is actually what you would call dirty fasting. I'm not doing a clean fast. I'm not there yet. I know a lot of people that have been on OMAD for a while do clean fast, where you only have water or herbal tea with no sugar, no Splenda, no nothing added. And that's great if you are able to do that, or black coffee with nothing added. I don't drink black coffee, so I don't add any sugar or Splenda, any kind of sweetener in my coffee anymore. But I do add just a splash of cream. We're talking like a tablespoon of cream, okay? So I do that during my dirty fasting, and then I drink water. I can have electrolytes, but I'm not talking about drinking coffee with cream 3 or 4 times a day or anything crazy like that. I wouldn't even consider that dirty fasting, to be honest. Everybody has, different opinions on that. That's fine. You do what works for you. But I can't say that that would honestly work for me, that I would continue losing weight, Anyways, so I allow myself to have cream in my coffee 1 to 2 times a day, usually twice a day. It is usually twice a day, if I'm being honest. Maybe once or twice a week. I can actually do without it in the evening, but everything is a process to get going. And so, like I said in an earlier video, I'm giving myself grace to get started in this process, okay, and to actually stick with it, because that's the part that's more important to me this time. This go around, see, it's not my first rodeo with trying to lose weight. So this go around, what's most important to me is actually sticking with it. Not, how I get started or how it's going, couple weeks in or 1 month or 2 months in, but actually being able to stick to the boundaries that I place. And so we have to start small if we really want to stick to those boundaries. Because if we come down too hard on ourselves right from the very beginning, it's going to be harder to stick to plan. So those are kind of my goals starting out. But yeah, I fast between 18 hours and 24 hours each and every day, except this past week I did have to go in to the hospital to have a procedure done, and the hospital recommended that I ate before, ate a good meal the day before having it done, and the day of, and then, the day after. So I didn't do it the day before, I don't guess, the day of and the day after. I did lengthen my eating window. I didn't eat 3 meals or 4 meals or anything like that. Hey, sis Monica. I didn't eat 3 or 4 meals or anything like that, nothing crazy, but I did lengthen my time back to 4 hours the day of, and then the day after I lengthened my eating window back to 6 hours, like an 18 to 6 fasting day, simply because of having the procedure done, and the day after I was actually feeling a little weak and tired and whatnot. So I did go ahead and eat for 6 hours, and that doesn't mean sitting down and eating for 6 hours. If you're listening to that, you say, what? How is that helping? No, I allowed myself 6 hours out of that day that I could eat if I wanted to, which I still only had two times that I sat down and ate that day. So 2 meals a day, 2 meals a day, I guess, for 2 days last week. Okay, so how is weight loss going? How is weight loss going? Well, last time that I came on and shared with you guys, I talked about doing intermittent fasting and how I had lost 6 pounds doing just intermittent fasting from January the 1st until January the 22nd. So now another month has passed, and I have lost another 4 pounds. So I've lost a total of 10 pounds, even though I had to go back and eat 2 meals a day for 2 days last week. I've still lost and maintained 10-pound weight loss. Yay! All right, so that may not seem like a lot, but for a month and a half, that's a reasonable weight loss. That's a reasonable weight loss. I'm not losing weight too fast, not losing weight too slow. So thank you so much. Yay. Thank you so much, Frugal Mama. All right, so other things that I have noticed while doing strictly OMAD, I've had a lot of non-scale victories. So I feel like I have more energy now, and actually whenever I do sit down and eat, I feel a little tired or sleepy after I eat sometimes, which may be from eating a larger meal at a time. But I feel better when I'm in a fasting state, even if I'm drinking the electrolytes or drinking, coffee or water, whatever it is. I feel better when I'm doing the dirty fasting instead of when I'm actually eating. I'm still walking 4 times a week, except this past week because of having the procedure done. I wasn't able to walk for a few days last week, but sort of made up for it yesterday. I took a little bit of a longer walk yesterday, and that wasn't to, sabotage my progress or to beat myself up because I wasn't able to walk. No, I was so ready to walk that I wanted to go a little bit further. I wanted to be able to push myself a little bit further, and it's time to push myself a little bit further. I had been walking to a certain point on our walking trail, and yesterday I said, I wonder if I would be any more tired if I would just keep walking for a little while. So my goal every time that I go walking is to walk somewhere between 30 to 45 minutes, okay? And so what that means for me is walking about 1.5 miles or so. But yesterday I was able to walk a little bit further in the same length of time. yesterday the kids weren't with me, and so and that's when I walk a little bit further. Honestly, is when the kids are not with me. If the kids are with me, I do about 30 minutes, and if I can actually walk a little bit further than them, then which happens sometimes. It's not that they can't. Y'all know kids. Y'all know kids. Sometimes they want to do it, sometimes they don't. So, and since they are still active and they play outside and all that, I don't want to push them to have to walk with me. So, when we go walking together, then sometimes I'll tell them, if you want to turn around and go back, you can, because it's a trail that runs through the city of where I live, and there's not a whole lot of people walking on the trail. There's it's to where cars are not passing the actual trail except at stop signs. So there are certain intersections to where I have to tell them, hey, wait for me. They're big enough to cross the street by themselves, but that mama in me says, wait a little while. Wait a little while. Wait till mama comes, okay? I know you can probably do it, but you're my responsibility still. So, and they do. They wait for me. So anyway, yes, walking is good, Sister Monica. Walking is really, really good. It gets the blood flowing, and I feel like it gives me energy when I'm walking, and I feel energized. Yes, walking with music. Okay, well, what I like to do, Sister Monica, is actually watch y'all's videos. I'm not able to sit there and really watch, but listen to y'all's videos while I'm walking, especially like yours, because you speak the word of God on your channel, and on the ones that speak the word of God on their channels, a lot of times I'm listening to the word of God while I'm walking, and then sometimes I'll watch Frugal Mama work out while I'm walking, and that gives me inspiration, because I know that she has been where I am right now. She's had to start over. She's had to, come to a realization that something needs to change. And so that gives me motivation and inspiration to say, hey, that's somebody just like me, okay? I can look at her now and say, wow, okay? Wow. Because that is goals, okay? That's goals. But she's been in my shoes. She's been where I am right now, and she's had to say, okay, I need to make changes, and I'm going to start by doing this and this and this. And we may have different goals and different ways of doing things, but same concept, same concept. I want to do what's right for me. She wants to do what's right for her. We all have goals with our health. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what body type you have. I don't care. We all have different goals with our health and with, fitness and wellness in general that we want to meet. And it may look like a different pathway than what someone else has. But at the end of the day, it's doing better for yourself. It's doing better for yourself, getting into a better mindset, getting into a better physical place, and emotional. It's very emotional and spiritual and all of that. Okay, we may look at the outside and say, okay, well, that was progress made physically, but what about emotionally? What about spiritually? How do you feel about it? And so I've noticed during this process that I'm feeling much better, and I'm feeling better about doing this, if that makes sense, because in the past, dieting and trying to change how I ate and change any activity or whatever, trying to implement exercise and whatnot, sometimes it was frustrating. And I'm not going to say that there hasn't been days like last week, when I was told that I needed to eat, and I was like, oh man, it's been a month of trying to do this. Is that going to throw my body off? Is that going to put me I was worried that maybe, it may sound silly, but once you got down to eating only 1 or 2 times a day, and then a doctor tells you, okay, you have to eat more for these couple days. You have to add a little bit of extra calories and this and this. You're like, what? Man, that's going to mess up my progress. That's going to hurt my progress. But it didn't. It really didn't. Might have been just a couple days there that maybe it did, but I didn't even weigh myself during those times because I know better now. I know better now because a couple years ago, if I would have had to go through that and have to change back to the way I was eating almost, and then have to go back to the healthier way of eating, I would have been tracking my weight. I would have been checking and, did I gain any weight during that? Am I going to lose it? And I would have been nervous and anxious, and I didn't let myself get in that place this time. This time I said, okay, common sense, you're going to gain a couple pounds from eating, because you do. If you weigh yourself in the morning when you first wake up, you haven't had anything to eat in 8 hours of sleeping or whatever time is your last time that you've eaten. Say you had supper at 7 o'clock the night before, and then you wake up at 7 o'clock the next morning. This is just an example. Then you've been in a fasting state for 12 hours, whether you realize it or not. 12 hours, okay? Supper at 7 p.m., wake up at 7 a.m. You've been in a fasting state for 12 hours. So when you wake up, naturally, you may look like you have lost 1 or 2 pounds. For some of us bigger people, maybe 3 or 4 pounds, all right? And then when you eat, say you eat breakfast, you eat lunch, and then, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, you want to weigh yourself. You might be 4 pounds heavier than what you were at 7 o'clock in the morning. Those are just facts, okay? And so this time around, I went into it with more wisdom, and I said, no, I'm not going to weigh myself on those days when, I know that I'm having to eat more. I also had a menstrual cycle, so I hadn't had my period in a couple of months, having some hormonal issues, and I actually started my period the day of the procedure. Of course I did. So that was another factor. We women gain weight when we're on our period. We gain weight usually a couple days before our period, most of us. And then within a few days after the period stops, then we might lose a pound or 2. And sometimes if you're having hormonal issues, then like for myself, sometimes it takes a few extra days to get that water weight off. So that was another thing that I kept in mind. I didn't weigh myself when I was on my period. I didn't weigh myself when I had the procedure. I didn't weigh myself. And so, that's something too, that if you are adapting to a new lifestyle, a new way of eating, you're making changes, keep those things in mind. Know what your triggers are. Know what is going to set you off. Know what's going to tick you off. Like you get on the scale and you see a couple extra pounds added, okay? You know that that's a trigger for you. Don't weigh yourself if you know that you will see, weight gain on the scale. Just keep going. Keep going. Don't let it set you back if you know that's one of your triggers, okay? So how is OMAD working out with my family? I am still able to cook for them and not have to sit down and eat with them. A lot of times I eat around 12 or 1 o'clock during the day. Sometimes my hunger gets the best of me and I go ahead and eat at 10 o'clock in the morning. If it's been, close to 24 hours since I have eaten, I go ahead and allow myself to eat at 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning. If I want to have my supper that everybody else had yesterday at 9 o'clock in the morning, I can do that, okay? And then when they're sitting down and having supper, okay, my husband comes home for lunch nearly every single day. And so I cook for him at lunchtime. I don't always eat at lunchtime. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Okay, and then at supper time, I very rarely eat because I'm not at a place right now to where I can make it until 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. I'm at a place right now where my 24 hours is up, by 2 o'clock usually. That's 24 hours for me, or by 1 o'clock, depending on what time I ate the day before. But roughly, I'm eating somewhere between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. There are some days where I eat at 10 a.m. There are some days where I eat at 2 p.m. But for the most part, it's like 11 o'clock, something like that. That's when I break my fast. So I usually am able to sit down and have lunch with my kids and my husband. But I do not eat supper with them if I have lunch with them. And so that has thrown me off a little bit, like when we would have a date or something like that, because we still date each other, okay? We've been together for 12 years. And something that has helped us tremendously is to continue dating each other. So that's a little piece of wisdom for you married folks. If you are married and you think that you are getting too old to date, you've been together too long to date, there's no age limit on dating. There's no time that you've been married that is a cutoff time for dating. Take your spouse out. Take your spouse out and show them how important they are to you. So, all right. I'm getting off my soapbox now, but anyway, that has thrown me off a little bit whenever he'd say, well, you want to go somewhere this evening, and knowing that I'm going to probably be eating at lunchtime. So what has helped me with that on those days, instead of starving myself until supper time and trying to get through or whatever, I'll just go ahead and have like a small snack. And I'm talking like just, 12 grapes. 12 grapes to get me through until supper time, until we can go out on that date. And so you may say, well, technically that's not OMAD because, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Do what works for you. Do what works for you, okay? I can eat my 12 grapes and then, wait till supper and have a meal, okay? If you can't, then that's you. But because my point of this is not overeating. My point of this is not sitting down and eating all day long just because I see somebody else eating. It's like before, I don't know, like for those of you who have pets, you're going to understand what I'm fixing to say. For those of you who don't have pets, don't like animals, this may not make sense for you, but we feed our pets like twice a day, right? Most of the time the veterinarian gives a suggestion of feeding pets 2 times a day. For some, it's small meals 3 times a day, which is what I'm having to do with my cats now that they're getting older. But I know, like with my cats, I have 4 cats inside my house. 4 cats inside my house. Every single time that somebody eats in my house, one of the cats will come. At least one of the cats will come, if not all the cats will come, and just be meowing and patting us and like, where is my food? You sitting here eating in front of me, where's my food? And so that's how I was before doing OMAD. I was like, man, where's my food? It didn't matter if I just ate 20 minutes before that. It's like the kids are eating, my husband came in to eat, whatever, because he gets off work. He is his own boss. For those who don't know, he is his own boss. He has a little construction team. He's a contractor, and so he has a little construction team, remodel team, whatever. He does construction, remodel, repairs on houses. And so it's like whenever he gets to a stopping place, that's when he's taking lunch. That may be 11 o'clock in the morning. It may be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's no set time that he comes home. And so before doing OMAD, maybe I had eaten already at 11 o'clock. Well, when he would come home at a later time, maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon to eat lunch, that's his lunch break, okay? It's not my lunch break, but in my mind, he would come in, he'd say, hey baby, have you eaten yet? And I'm like, yeah, I ate, but you finna eat, so I'm gonna have a little snack while you eat. And so I would basically have like half a meal again whenever he would eat lunch. And then like in the afternoon around 3 or 4 o'clock, kids get hungry before it's really supper time. They get hungry. And my house is like every 30 minutes the kids get hungry, but they're working it off. They're playing and they're active and they're running it off. So by 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they eat a snack and they're like, Mama, I can't finish my snack. Well, guess who is the garbage disposal? Me. That I was. I was, okay? Not anymore. Now when they say, Mama, I'm not hungry, I can't eat the rest of it, I say, well, next time get a little bit smaller of a snack. But this time, since you already did that, go ahead and put it in a Ziploc bag, save it for later. That's your food later. You want a snack? You come back and eat this. Okay, so things have changed. Things have changed in a very positive direction, and that's what we're hoping to see in the weeks to come is even more changes in positive directions. All right, so I think I've basically covered everything. Oh, well, one more thing. One more thing. Last time when we talked, I talked about how I had to go up a size and I didn't want to. I put it off for the longest. I wore my clothes a little bit snug, a little bit tight, okay? Um, just because I didn't want to change sizes. But I ended up having to change sizes because finally they no longer fit, okay? I am happy to report that I am back in my normal size now, completely 100% back in my normal size now. So, and I say normal very loosely. We want to keep going. We want to keep losing some weight because I'm definitely not at a healthy weight still. I started this out at 226 pounds. Yes, 226 pounds. And so I have lost 10 pounds and I'm down to 216 pounds. And that is my first time saying that out loud. I haven't said that to my kids. I haven't said that to my husband. I haven't said that to no. You're hearing it first, okay? And that's the biggest that I have been, other than being pregnant. That is the biggest that I have been in my life. So yeah, that's why we're doing OMAD. That's why we're here. That's why we're talking about our business on YouTube. Something I don't normally do because I need something. I need something to kick me in the pants enough that I really take things seriously. And so yeah, all right. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep pushing. I'm gonna keep trying to make good decisions. And hopefully I'll get down out of these clothes too, okay? Hopefully these will get loose on me in the upcoming weeks, all right? That is my goal, is to get healthier for my kids, get healthier for my husband. I want to be able to live, a longer life. For my children, there is so much obesity in my family. There's diabetes in my family. Heart problems, cholesterol, blah 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 blah. A lot of obesity related illnesses in my family, and so that seems to be the norm, and that is the norm right here where I live as well. I live in the fat state of Mississippi. Okay, and I say fat state of Mississippi because everywhere you look, everyone is obese. Okay, so yeah, I want to make changes. I want to make some changes for myself. I want to make some changes for my family. And y'all know that I'm a woman of faith. So, like I said in the last video, the Spirit, the fruit of the Spirit is patience. The fruit of the Spirit is love, it's peace, it's joy, but it's also self-control, okay? That's the one that we don't want to talk about. We don't like to talk about self-control. Okay, so it's not pleasing the Lord if I don't have self-control. And so that is very important to me. It's very important to me. I'm not perfect by any means. Okay, there's a lot that I need to work on emotionally, spiritually, and physically. So that is one of my main motivators, is getting things right with God, because I've worked on myself. I can say I've worked on myself a lot in the last several years, and people who knew me before, and I'm talking spiritual now. Okay, I'm talking spiritual now. People who knew me before, when I was a teenager, when I was an early young adult. They can testify to the fact that God has changed me so much. Okay, I went from being a rebellious young adult, making decisions on the fly, not asking anybody for wisdom, and certainly not God, okay, and doing whatever I wanted to do, to then, after I had my first child, giving my life back to God, asking God to help me, asking God to redeem me, asking God to restore me, asking God to change me, transform me, and make me into the woman that He wanted me to be, okay? And to be the best mother and to be the best wife, and just thanking God, for another chance, another opportunity. And I haven't told my whole testimony. It would take a long, long time. And, it'd take a long time for Sister Monica to tell her whole testimony. She's been through some things in her life, okay? She knows who God is. She knows that He is her Redeemer. She knows that He is her provider. She knows that He is her restorer, okay? I know Sister Frugal Mama, same thing. She's been through some storms in her life. She's been through some times, all right? And she can tell you that only God could get her through it. And I'm not trying to preach on here. I'm not trying to preach on here today, but yeah, the Lord got me through a lot. He changed me. He transformed me a lot. And it was only by the grace of God that I was able to be changed and transformed, because I didn't want to, okay? I didn't want to. But when we give it to God and we start to want to, then comes more changes. And so that's what I'm talking about spiritually. Spiritually, there are some more changes that need to take place. There are some more changes that I want to see in myself, okay? And so I'm giving it to God. I'm giving that to God, and I'm allowing Him to do whatever He needs to do in my life. And so that is a part of this process. I know I said I'm not trying to preach on here, but there is a spiritual aspect to wellness. There is very much a spiritual aspect to wellness, no matter what your spiritual belief is. Everybody has their own spiritual beliefs, but mine is in Jesus Christ. Mine is in Jesus Christ. He is my Savior. So for me, wellness has to go through Him first, not my doctor, not a health coach, not a nutritionist, not a dietitian, any of that. It has to go through Him first, and then after that we can go to the doctor, we can go to the nutritionist, we can go to the health coach, whatever we need to do, okay, the fitness trainer, whatever we need, all right, but it has to go through Him first. So anyway, glory to God for that. I wasn't going to do that this morning, but Holy Spirit had His way. Okay. Yeah, OMAD is a wonderful, wonderful way of getting back on track, if that is something that you're interested in. If you have any other questions about OMAD, then you can definitely hit me up on Instagram, or you can, in my handle over there is nancy.perrin. So just my name with a dot in the middle. All right. And you can leave comments after this live goes. So yeah. All right. So yeah, it's possible to do OMAD and still take care of your family, still provide for them, give them the food that they need, and let them nourish their bodies. And while you're in a fasting state, it is definitely possible. And I can say that I have more clarity now as far as mental-wise. I have more mental clarity now, and I'm not all fogged over with food. Sometimes we get fogged over with food and we don't even realize it. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that, for all the ones on YouTube as well that I've been watching and have given such great advice and wisdom about their journeys with intermittent fasting and OMAD. I've learned a lot. I've even learned a lot from the keto crowd. I'm not following a keto diet, but I've learned a lot even from the keto crowd, and that's why I follow so many different people with different perspectives on wellness, because we can all learn from each other. I don't have to agree with everything that you say and do in order to learn from you. And that's the same. I mean, you don't have to agree with everything that I say and do in order to learn from me, because we're all in this journey called life together. Hey, Boss Lady Denise, I was just supposed to get off of here, but I thank you so much for coming in, and I hope that you catch the replay. Thank you all so much for being here. Everybody in the background, thank you so much. Those that will catch the replay, thank you so much. We're going to do another update in about a month and let you know how OMAD continues to go for me. So you want to stay tuned for that, and I'm looking forward to having more live streams and more day in the life videos and different things over here. So thank you all so much for your continued support, and we are out. We'll see you again another day. God bless and have an awesome, amazing day.